Hey, Steelers Nation. Welcome back to the channel. It's been an exciting season for Pittsburgh so far, but today, we've got some intriguing news about one of our quarterbacks, Justin Fields. While he started the season leading us to a solid 4-2 record, Fields has since taken a back seat to Russell Wilson, who's helped secure 2 wins in his return as our starting QB. But what happens to Fields next season? In fact, rumor has it he might land with a division rival. Let's dive into all the details, but before we do, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for all the latest Steelers news. Every like helps get this content to more Steelers fans, so thank you. Now, let's get into it. Justin Fields had his moment in the spotlight early in the season. After Russell Wilson went down with a calf injury in training camp, Fields stepped up and led the Steelers to a respectable 4-2 start. There was even talk of him potentially being a long-term answer under center. However, Wilson's return changed the course for Fields. With Wilson back, the offense looked sharper, and the veteran proved to be the steady presence the Steelers needed. Now, Fields, who's currently on an $18 million contract, finds himself on the bench once again, sparking speculation about his future. Unless Wilson is sidelined again or Fields somehow reclaims his spot as the starter, the young QB might look for a starting role elsewhere in 2025. And that elsewhere could be in Cleveland. With the Cleveland Browns struggling at quarterback, Fields might be the answer they're looking for. Christopher Knox from Bleacher Report recently speculated that the Browns could be interested in Fields if he hits free agency. Knox also mentioned the New York Jets as a potential landing spot, but Cleveland stands out as a particularly interesting option given their struggles with Deshaun Watson. Watson's time in Cleveland has been, frankly, disappointing. After investing heavily in him, the Browns have seen little return, and there's a lot of uncertainty surrounding his future. Right now, Jameis Winston serves as Watson's backup, but Winston's contract ends in 2025, leaving an opening for a new QB if he decides to move on. Fields would be a logical replacement. He has the mobility and playmaking potential that Cleveland desperately needs. Imagine Fields' athleticism alongside the Browns' strong rushing game. It's a mix that could give the Steelers a real headache twice a year. Fields could be tempted by the chance to play regularly and potentially compete against the Steelers, adding a whole new layer to the Steelers-Browns rivalry. The Jets are another team rumored to be in the mix for Fields. After all, the future of Aaron Rodgers is uncertain. He's set to turn 41 in December and is recovering from a significant injury. While Rodgers is under contract for another year, retirement could be on the horizon. If that happens, the Jets will need a new quarterback, and Fields could be their guy. For Fields, heading to New York could be an opportunity to prove himself on one of the league's biggest stages. Plus, the Jets are building an impressive roster around young talents. Fields' dual-threat abilities would likely appeal to the Jets' coaching staff, who are always looking for ways to keep defenses guessing. If Fields does end up in Cleveland or New York, it's a win for him professionally, but it could be a big loss for Pittsburgh if he lands with the Browns. As much as we love Fields for his contributions, seeing him across the line of scrimmage in a divisional game would be tough. Switching gears for a moment, let's talk defense. The Steelers have dominated defensively this season, allowing the second fewest points per game and ranking 4th in takeaways. However, star safety Minkah Fitzpatrick's trademark splash plays, interceptions and forced fumbles, have been notably absent. Since joining the Steelers in 2019, Fitzpatrick has been a game-changer. But since 2023, his turnover stats have dropped, and fans are starting to wonder why. In 18 games, he's yet to record an interception, forced fumble, or fumble recovery. But don't worry, there's hope on the horizon. The Steelers are welcoming back cornerback Cam Sutton, a versatile player who has previously helped Minkah create those memorable plays. Sutton's experience at multiple positions allows him to support Minkah in a way that few players can. With Sutton's return, Fitzpatrick may have more freedom to roam and make those game-changing plays we've all come to expect. This combination could be crucial as we enter the playoff push, adding depth to a defense that's already elite. The Steelers also have an emerging talent in Beanie Bishop Jr., an undrafted rookie who's been stepping up in the absence of Sutton. Bishop has already secured 3 interceptions this season, including 2 picks against Aaron Rodgers and the Jets. It's clear he has a knack for the big moments, and Coach Tomlin is optimistic about getting both Sutton and Bishop on the field at the same time. Having these 2 talented corners, plus Fitzpatrick and our dominant pass rushers, is a major advantage as we approach the season's final stretch. Pittsburgh's defense is performing at a high level in most areas, yet one surprising stat stands out: they're only 10th in the league for total sacks with 19. For a team that led the NFL in sacks for 5 straight seasons from 2017 to 2021, this is unexpected. One reason for the drop could be that opponents are getting the ball out faster to avoid the Steelers' pass rushers, particularly T.J. Watt. Watt faces constant double teams and chip blocks, and yet he's still making an impact every week. With Alex Highsmith, rookie Nick Herbig, and newly acquired Preston Smith on the roster, the Steelers have a strong lineup that can wreck offensive lines. If Fitzpatrick and Sutton can get back to creating turnovers, the sack numbers may not be as crucial. But it's still an area where Pittsburgh could look to ramp up the pressure. Looking ahead, there's a lot on the line for the Steelers. If Fields leaves next season, will the team focus on finding a new backup for Wilson, or perhaps even a successor? How will Fitzpatrick and Sutton's chemistry impact the secondary's performance? And can the Steelers get back to leading the league in sacks? It's an exciting time to be a Steelers fan, with so many questions and so much potential on both sides of the ball. Fields has given us great moments this season, and while he might move on in 2025, we know he'll make the most of whatever opportunities he has in the meantime. Coming out of a successful 6-2 start, the Steelers are showing they mean business. But even with that record, there were gaps, especially in the wide receiver department. George Pickens has been a standout, racking up 548 receiving yards and 35 catches. However, beyond Pickens, the wide receiver core has underperformed, leaving the Steelers looking for extra firepower in the passing game. Enter Williams, a seasoned wide receiver who started his career with the Los Angeles Rams before a short stint with the New York Jets. Pittsburgh acquired Williams right before the trade deadline, sending a 2025 fifth-round pick to the Jets. Now, while his recent stats, 12 catches, 166 yards, 0 touchdowns, aren't eye-popping, they're enough to make him the second highest producing receiver on the roster. Don't expect Williams to turn the Steelers into the next greatest show on turf, but he brings fresh energy and reliability to the receiving group that will be key as Russell Wilson continues to spread the ball around. Facing the Commanders' fifth-best pass defense won't be an easy task, but Williams is ready to make an impact in black and gold. Steelers fans will want to keep an eye on how Williams fits into Arthur Smith's offense and how quickly he can contribute in Week 10. Now, while we were hoping linebacker Nick Herbig would be back in action, it looks like we'll have to wait a little longer. Herbig has been battling an injury, and even though he's been progressing in practice, the Steelers aren't rushing him back. Understandably, they want to keep him available for the critical stretch run, especially with a rotation that includes T.J. Watt and Alex Highsmith. But here's the good news, Preston Smith is stepping up in Herbig's place. While he may not be as explosive as Herbig, Smith's experience adds solid depth to the linebacker rotation, allowing Watt and Highsmith to get some rest, which will be crucial as the Steelers head into a demanding second half of the season. With Watt frequently double-teamed and chipped, having a steady player like Smith on standby is a big win for Pittsburgh's defense. Look for this rotation to bring even more energy in Week 10 against the Commanders. Steelers fans, get ready for a game-changer. Cordarrelle Patterson is set to return. Known for his versatility and his record-setting 9 kickoff return touchdowns, Patterson can do it all. He was a key figure under Coach Smith back in Atlanta, playing at running back, wide receiver, and even as a special teams ace. Unfortunately, Patterson missed several games this season due to an ankle injury sustained in Week 4 against the Colts, but he's now fully cleared to play. Patterson's return couldn't come at a better time. With both Williams and Patterson back, Russell Wilson will have a deeper pool of offensive weapons to work with. This is exactly what the Steelers need to keep defenses like Washington on their toes. Expect Patterson to make his presence felt across the field, adding unpredictability and some electric playmaking that's bound to fire up the Steelers' offense and the fans. Finally, let's talk about a huge return on the offensive line, rookie center Zach Frazier. He's been dealing with an ankle injury from Week 6 against the Raiders, but now he's back and ready to play. With the Steelers facing several injuries on the offensive line this season, including season-ending losses for starters Nate Herbig, Troy Fautanu, and James Daniels, having Frazier back is a huge relief. Frazier's presence on the field can help maintain the momentum the Steelers' run game has been building, especially with Najee Harris and Jaylen Warren finding their rhythm. The timing couldn't be better, as a reliable center like Frazier is essential to sustaining a solid ground game and protecting Wilson in the pocket. Against a tough Washington defensive front, Frazier's return could be a game-changer for Pittsburgh's offensive stability. Pittsburgh's defense has been a force this season, and even with some ups and downs, they've managed to keep offenses on their heels. Currently, the Steelers rank second in points allowed and fourth in takeaways, with key players making big plays every game. But one surprising stat that's catching fans' attention? The Steelers are only ranked 10th in sacks this season with 19. For a team that's led the league in sacks for 5 straight years until 2021, this is a bit unexpected. One reason for this shift? Teams have adjusted their game plans to release the ball faster, limiting the Steelers' opportunities for sacks. Still, Pittsburgh's defensive front, led by T.J. Watt, Alex Highsmith, and now with Preston Smith added to the mix, has remained dominant. As the Steelers enter a challenging part of their schedule, this rotation could be key in keeping the defense fresh and effective, even if the sack numbers don't always show it. Adding depth with Smith and the flexibility from players like Cam Sutton, who can play safety, cornerback, or nickel, means Pittsburgh's defense is set up to face whatever offenses throw their way. Sutton's versatility gives the Steelers even more options in coverage and should help ease the workload on Minkah Fitzpatrick, who fans hope will start making those game-changing plays we're used to seeing. Looking at all the new and returning talent, there's no doubt the Steelers are poised to make a strong push in the second half of the season. Williams' arrival bolsters the receiving core, Patterson's versatility brings much-needed dynamism to the offense, and Frazier's return solidifies a shaky offensive line. Meanwhile, Herbig's delay in returning is balanced by Preston Smith's presence, ensuring that Pittsburgh's defense doesn't miss a beat. With Washington up next, Pittsburgh faces a formidable 7-2 team, marking the start of a tough stretch that will truly test this team's resilience and playoff readiness. This upcoming game is the perfect opportunity to see if the new faces and returning players can make an immediate impact. If everyone steps up, the Steelers have the depth and talent to contend with the best of the best. So, Steelers Nation, how do you feel about the idea of Justin Fields joining a division rival? Would you be worried about facing him twice a year? And what do you think about Fitzpatrick's potential resurgence with Cam Sutton back in the lineup? Let us know in the comments below. And if you haven't already, remember to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps keep these updates coming, and we're grateful for each and every one of you who's along for the ride. Here's to a strong finish to the season and an exciting future for the Steelers. Let's go, Steelers!